Hello everyone, it's Kari back again with you on the channel to share a sneak peek of a brand new stamp set that's going to be released this weekend. This is called Slugs Kisses and it's got some great little images, including a couple of characters, some slugs in a barrel, and some really great sentiments. Today I'm going to put together a quick card, and I'm bringing in an earlier release product. This is the Candy Slugs mini die set. And I'm also going to be using this wood frame from this set here to pull my card together. So this new stamp set is a smaller 4x4 stamp set, so it's a really great price point and really fun to create with. I'm going to use some Distress Oxide spray on my glass mat here, add a little bit of water, and smush my paper right into that. I'm adding a little more water here and there just to help it to flow a little bit more. I'm looking for kind of a grungy, slug-like background, and I thought this would be fun. I had a lot of ink there though, so I'm going to bring in some more of this watercolor panel and ink smush quite a few of them. And then I'll pick my favorite one to create the card with. So I'm just pulling up the rest of that ink to finish off all of that ink, and then I'll clean off my glass mat. And now we can spray a little bit of this on the front. This is the Distress Spritz, and it adds just a little bit more shimmer. It also looks a little slimy. I ended up not using that one in my card though, which was interesting. I chose one of the others. So I've cut out that wood grain frame, and now I'm going to go ahead and ink around the edges to make the edges a little bit darker. I'm using some vintage photo to do this, and just easily sliding a little bit around the edges will leave the inside a lighter shade. So I did cut this out of a craft colored cardstock, and it's hard to see in the video, but that die really does create a wood grain look on it, so it's really pretty. It makes for a really pretty frame. So I've chosen one of my favorite backgrounds, and I'm going to put that wood grain frame right over the top, and then we'll trim off the excess from the background. So I'm using some double-sided adhesive to do this, make sure it's really nice and strong. And also I should mention that I let that background dry completely. I even used my heat tool just a little to help it to dry faster. That will make sure this panel can be flattened out a little bit more once we put this frame on it. So I'm going to add that down here kind of in the corner. I wanted to get some of those nice little smushes down in the corner there. And now I'll cut off the excess just like this, nice and easy, and try to straighten that up just a little bit. So that's going to be the background for our card, just like this, and I think it looks really cool. So now we can add that to a card base, and you can see that that frame, when you use that frame just as it is, it leaves a little bit of a white border around the edge, which I really like because it adds that extra dimension. So I'm going to glue this down with some liquid adhesive just like this. And we'll put that right on the card base, leaving that white frame all around the edge of this frame. I'm going to allow that to dry before I start placing all the other elements on. For the slugs, I thought they would be cute right here at the bottom of the frame, and then we'll add our images just like so. And then I've stamped out one of these sentiments and an extra slug, and it says, "Sorry you're feeling sluggish," which I thought was a fun one. And so that slug that I added, I just popped it up a little bit with foam tape onto that sentiment strip, and these characters I'm going to pop up also with a little bit of foam tape. It's going to give this card a little extra dimension and a little more fun. And I really love this little bucket of slugs. You can add some more slugs around the background if you want to. I think that would look really cute. But today I am just going to add some extra, well, you'll see in just a minute, some extra slime. At least it's going to look a little slimy. So I'm popping up these little slugs here as well. And those have some dark blue polka dots to them to kind of match his outfit. I don't know, I thought it would pull the whole thing together just a little bit. So adding the foam tape here to this little guy, and there is the beginnings of our card. We're almost done. I'm going to add some glossy accents. That's going to act as our slime. And I thought this just was the perfect finishing touch. So I added a little bit to the bottom of each of these larger slugs here, and then some below them, so it looks like they're leaving kind of a slimy trail. And then of course I'm adding some dots to my background. That's going to give it a little bit of a glisten there. And then below each of these other slugs in the buckets, and that will be the perfect finishing touch. So I'm going to hold this a little closer. When it dries, it's going to dry glossy. So you can see here, it's kind of a fun little touch. It looks a little milky right now, but it will dry a little bit more glossy. Here you can see it a little bit more dry. See that glossiness? It's really fun addition to these slugs. And that's just our sneak peek today at the Slugs and Kisses 4x4 stamp set. The new release will be all available this weekend in the Miss Ink Stamps shop. So I hope you'll go check it all out. I'll leave the links below so you can click on over. And thanks so much for stopping by. I'll be back with more inspiration real soon too. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.